Greetings and salutations. This is Pandora the Eclectic, also known as Pandora the Eclectic One, and today I'm sure you're wondering why I'm wearing orange and my really cool gothic butterfly bracelets. Well, let me tell you, it has been a very interesting day. A very interesting day indeed. But let's start off with something. As you know, I've already stated where I live, but I also want to congratulate where I live. As of yesterday, Oklahoma has finally allowed gay marriage. Yes! Finally! And we're probably going to continue on a lot of other things, but that's been one of the more progressive things we've done lately. And of course you got tons of other things you gotta stuff is legalized, but there's still things you gotta do to get further and further because, gamers still got a lot of ways to go. But I think so far, don't we have like 26, 27 states that have allowed gay marriage? Don't get me wrong, there's still got a way to go, but not as much. So, awesome. I can't wait to what we get on to next. It's involving the rest of the um, colors on that rainbow flag to do. Uh, you know, because I think we still have to be concerned about transgender and stuff like that. But baby steps, people, baby steps. But that one was a big one, especially for where Oklahoma is, and it's on the map. Another thing. Okay, I think that's about it. But before I get into my story, um, let's put it this way. If you ever play Dungeons and Dragons, anyone who has, I really do warn people, um, infighting is not necessary. It is not good. It only leads to pain and causing of others to have headaches. Nice. And more and more pain. So, cool, I get more followers on my Tumblr. Sorry, just had to check. Um, but at the same time, it was pretty awesome. And to finally see it here, that game match is bad. But anyways, yeah. Let's just put it this way. It was a great night at Dungeons and Dragons, but yeah, it was okay. It's not right for you to get or fly into a rage. I mean, I understand 4th edition and the 3.5 have like this really weird thing where it doesn't allow you a lot of chances to take care of your problems, but you cannot actually get upset and, it's just not prudent to knock all your dice off of the table. Okay, it just isn't. Um, Second, um, yeah, it's just not. But anyways, I'm gonna start off with where this story begins because it will all make sense to you. So, basically, as you know, I have this Dungeons and Dragons group that I go to every Tuesday. Hey, I think I've talked about having like I'm trying to read through some of the Dungeons and Dragons books. That's because, as you know, I understand very little about it, but I felt it would be nice to talk to a group of people who did, or to people who might know, and maybe they can explain to me about how it all works. That's a little bit better, but you know, because at first when I went in this month, I thought I would have had to have all that read and had done and memorized and shit. But turns out that wasn't necessary for until next month, because when I went in today, okay, into that maybe, well, imagine if the room was about twice. Well, okay, I'm not gonna describe how big it was, but it's probably like maybe 1/3, maybe like 1/4 of 1/3 as small as the normal room that we actually use. So, that we actually use to play. So, basically, turns out I only had to worry about 6 or 7 people to impress at playing Dungeons and Dragons. That didn't go so well. Let's see, what was the next part? Oh, yes. It was pretty well. We just talked and had a good time. Most of it was just making jokes and talking. I think we had to go around the table discussing names of our characters and such, and we had to give like a couple sentences as, as describing what our character does or likes to do, and you know, the typical behavior of everyone else. Okay, but that's about it. Anyways, it came down to where I guess I'm not gonna give any names, but we were playing with mostly, you know, kids who, most of the people who were, I don't know, like I said, kids, but just when I'm 20 years old does not give me the excuse to use the word kid. And when these people are like, what, 7 years younger than I am? Uh, However, where I guess we were in a bar or something like that, and I guess it came down to where we ended up fighting this orc that we later found out was made out of alcohol. Now, see, that would be really awesome if we could have found that out later, but we didn't. So it went pretty well. Well, not pretty well, but it got down to the point where, well, let's put it this way: nothing we could really do to beat this orc guy could touch him. Nothing. Everything we had, pretty much. I have like a not crossbow, but a sling with my character. It's probably more like this than the old school, really ultra old school old slingshot. But yeah, more like this. I could toss in whatever I had, I guess, as a ammunition. I always rocks or something. And even though I was throwing out pretty massive hits, it's like, I think the only damage I was ever able to make, if at all, was a 3. That's it. That's as much pain as it got. Then you had this other kid who kept making really low rolls and all that stuff, which, you know, every time he did it, didn't seem to get much better, and it would piss him off. In fact, he got so down to the point where basically is what I just described to you. He bashed his hands on the table, and got angry and tried, got angry and shot at the DM, which is not a prudent thing to do. It's something else I gotta talk about too. Because not the only time we're shouting. It's not allow people, and this is one of the times. Got down to them getting into a fight, and us just not wanting to play anymore. I think a lot of us kind of felt bad because we wanted to continue playing. I mean, it was difficult as fuck because we wanted to know why, but we also all kind of understood how it was meant to be played. I hope this doesn't get out and those people find this video and get pissed at me, but at the same time, I think this is a good example of why, yelling at someone is not the answer. Okay? That, just got down to, well, it might have been difficult because it was part of the game, not actually because the person who created the game was trying to make it difficult for everyone else. Though I believe that there are DMs who are assholes who go that far. But I think we could argue this time, no, I don't think that was the case. Yes. I think there's someone who was not happy with the fact that he was not getting what he wanted. And I must say, that is life. You don't always get what you want. And unfortunately, lots of people hate that. But anyways, I guess that's really all I have to say about the matter. And I guess the lesson of this is not so cool. Also, I want to state that I'm going to do more reviews of my book, and it's starting now. It's going to be real short, trust me, because I'm only on chapter 1 of this particular book. Ta-da! It's Dungeons and Dragons Complete Scandal. Now, for the next week or so, I'm going to do a few more, just so you guys understand what I'm doing. Probably maybe 1, 2 more, I guess. So, so you know what's going on with me and it. And now I'm just reading about what kinds of different scoundrels you can be. And that's chapter 1. So right up here. And that's about it. But it's kind of boring, but that's kind of how it is to read any manual now, isn't it? Anyways, this is Pandora the Eclectic, telling you to keep it frosty and keep it up here.